Because you see, I have this little policy in my classroom about honesty and ass kicking, which is if you ask for it, then I have to let you have it. You want to know what I make? I make kids work harder than they ever thought they could. I can make a C plus feel like a Congressional Medal of Honor, and I can make an A minus feel like a slap in the face. How dare you waste my time with anything less than your very best? And B, you want to know what I make? I make kids wonder. I make them question. I make them criticize. I make them apologize and mean it. I make them write. And then I make them read. I make them spell. Teachers make a goddamn difference. Now what about you?
Hello, everyone out there. Welcome to this episode of the Education Happenings podcast. I'm Dave Madden, and this is episode 3. On this episode, I wanted to focus on parent-teacher conferences. That'll be the topic. I zero in on if you are checking this out on YouTube, I post these here so you could have the video and enjoy me in the video, I guess, if you wanted that. I post the audio on Podbean, and then in an effort to maybe create some sort of engagement and try again the social media for the Education Happenings stuff at edu_happenings on Twitter and on Instagram. Very meager, very thin, not too many followers, so I don't anticipate 1 million people hopping in to engage and join in, but I am live on Instagram. I will try this several times, see what happens. Probably not much. But I would love if you guys do, like I told you in the last episode, turn those handful of views, at least that I see on YouTube, into subscriptions. Hey, man, that'd be awesome. Maybe it's not good enough to subscribe to. I don't know, but why not if you took the minute to watch it? So, again, the topic today will be parent-teacher conferences. Before I do jump into it, it's interesting to... what I do with the educationhappenings.com site is just kind of, I find it fascinating as a teacher to see the stories that pop up, and they seem, several of the stories I find valid in the sense that more people are talked to within the district, teachers, parents, whatever. It seems like multiple sources putting together a story that is not just one-sided and just grossly misled. And it's interesting for me now to be a part of one of those stories. So I'm really excited for when it comes out and it's really clarified what went down and what's going on with me in the classroom and with the teaching world. I can't wait to come on here and share the fuck out of it and talk about it. So until then, I'm not really discussing myself personally in the realm of news and topics, but it's amazing what can be just made into a mountain when there's not even a molehill there. It's a commentary on the society nowadays. It's too bad, and it's too bad for me to be a part of it and be stuck in it, but I guess. And it's interesting when you are in the just out and about and I go to person X, I go to Susie and I say, man, that's Susie. She is this and that and the other. I post about it. I spread it to media. We defame the fuck out of you. And I could be held civilly responsible for those choices. And it's funny, in the world of teaching and firefighting and police work, we just got to take it. We're just the pincushion. So that's interesting. It's too bad. It's the way the world and the system is. But so be it. So be it. So again, just let's get back to today's topic. And again, I can't wait to get into what went down with me. But like I said, I'm live on Instagram. If anyone does pop in by chance or does, hey, I'd love to get a comment or something to interact with. I used to, like I said in my first episode of this, do episodes live, and it was when I had an active Facebook page and could be on Facebook, and people would jump in, and anyways, all good. I'm not out here for being a celebrity. I have a blast playing that wannabe journalist thing, and I like doing the podcast thing. I like talking and building a little community in my own world, and like I did with my NorCal MMA stuff. It was fun while it lasted. This one, we'll see. Fun while it lasts. We'll see. But again, here we go. Round 3, episode 3, and parent-teacher conferences. So, if you are a teacher, you don't necessarily. It's such a stressful time. We just got done with parent-teacher conferences in my district and my site. They do them sometimes after the Thanksgiving break, sometimes before. This time it was before. I don't dread them. I feel like after 15 years, I kind of got it on lock of what I like to do and how I like to present information and discuss with the parents about their student and their child. First things first, in my opinion, these parents, they just want to know that their kid is liked and enjoyed, and you find the positives. I mean, if it were me, yeah, I'm that's just me. I'd be a little, harder on the teacher in the sense of, just explain to me some things, and it's just because I'm in the game, I guess. I just would want to know. It's just of interest to me. I think I would be able to get a sense of the teacher long before the parent-teacher conference, and I guess that was one of my first bullet points is the idea of parent-teacher conferences is so archaic. It just feels like in this age where email's right there. I have an app to my classroom, and so you can engage with me through the app. It's called Class Dojo. Maybe I could put that in the show notes or like a link to it in the YouTube channel. As soon as the Podbean account gets more views or listens or downloads or whatever, I'll go ahead and purchase some extra airtime, and you get more characters in the descriptor. But until when you use it when it's just free, they very much limit your characters. So I can't post anything in there. I take the audio and the YouTube, and I do put it together in articles and publish it at educationhappenings.com. So I can put the link in there for Class Dojo. It is a valuable resource. It's kind of, like I said, it's just an app where it feels like Facebook for the classroom. Basically is a very simple way to describe exactly what it is. You can message the teacher in there. The teacher can post about the classroom in there, post pictures about what's going on, post images of homework, whatever you want to make of it. And so I use that app. I used to just give out my number to everybody. Again, I don't care if I do with parents. I just think that's the main one, man. It's make a connection with the teacher. I feel like if my student was in whatever grade, I don't feel like it's kissing up and brown nosing the teacher and trying to get a good grade. I mean, bring them a coffee. Just check in the morning. Say hi, dude. I mean, they're your kid's teacher. I just would think you'd want to know how they are and just kind of get a feel for them all the time, and not just that passing of the child one way and then passing of them back. I get them at 8 a.m. and I give them back to you at 2:30. Nothing else. It's all superficial. We're all just these busy people running around. I always find it, I get it, and it's very sweet when the parents are sensitive to, oh, I know you're so busy, and they'll always say that, oh, I know you're so busy, so I didn't want to bug you, and I didn't want to, whatever they feel and think, and I always think that's so sweet and everything, but come on, man, we're talking about your kid here. I can make some time in. This is my job. I'm supposed to make time for your child. So they're not too busy for you, and if they are too busy for you and your questions, or you are going out of your way to try to make a connection and they're shutting it down, I mean, there's something else going on there with that individual teacher. And if you are feeling put off, or not welcomed, or it's not a warm feeling in any way, man, you guys have gut instincts as parents or other teachers or whatever, and you have your instincts, and you're usually right. And so you could always look to the administration for help. You could just talk to the teacher. I don't like that. It does feel very much, you give me your student at 8, and then I give them back to you in the afternoon, and there's a long time in between. And so I know the parents who uh, reach out more so as not even a friend. It's not that at all. Like, they're not my friend. But more so warmly. Um, I'm not saying, we need hugs and like I said, coffees, and you don't need presents. It's nothing like that. But just welcomings in the mornings, or hey, I just had this question, or I don't know. Sometimes when they're younger, you want to volunteer in the classroom, or help in some way. Somewhere around that 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, parents kind of just want to let their kid go be themselves in their own little space, and make that connection, make it right away. I feel like yes, the teacher should be in contact, but come on, there's another side of it too. And parents, come on, go approach the teacher, get to know him a little bit. Teacher, I mean, it's I get it though, that it's not for everybody. Different cultures, different languages. It does make it difficult. There's so many tools I have. I have a language line that's given to me by the district, and I can call up an interpreter if needed. I don't know. I don't have a lot of translating apps, but that's an option. Some schools have translators. So I hate the idea of language being an issue. I do understand the cultural differences. If you're new to the country, or you're just, you're just not there. I understand that there's so many different angles with communicating with the teacher. But if you can, and you have the ability, and why not reach out and get to know them first off. And the reason why the first conference that is official conference is not until the end of the first trimester. So when do you go to school? We started in late August, September, October, mid-November. 3.5 months go by before you're sitting down with the teacher. So man, get in there, meet the person. That's just my advice. It don't the teacher technically is not supposed to make the first contact be parent-teacher conferences. There are, at least in our district, progress reports in the interim. That's about at that midway point to let the parents know, hey, maybe we have some academic issues, behavioral issues. These things should be brought up beforehand. I'm just speaking from my personal experience. Sometimes it's very difficult to reach the families. And I'm not just saying because of language. Again, I have the resources if needed to break the language barrier, but working phone numbers, some parents just cannot, for whatever reason, be contacted throughout the year. Writing notes, sending them home with the kids, you don't hear anything back. I mean, literally working through every possible idea. So you exhaust your efforts, you try your best, and that's always going to be the case, man. There's 30 kids in that room, 34 kids in that room. That's a lot of bodies, that's a lot of adults, that's a lot of different life happening. So I definitely understand it won't work for everybody, but you got to make that contact before, and try to share what's going on before parents start receiving these documents saying that there's issues, whether it was known in the past in previous grades or not. So overall, I just feel like this whole idea of conferences is pretty archaic. You make these families leave work, and I understand you're allowed to leave work to go do parent conferences and things like that, and that's great that there are systems and rules set up to allow that, but I don't know. You have to sit down with the parent for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and it just feels clinical, with especially when there's this disconnect and this sterilization between the teacher and the parent. And I think the kids need to also see, we're on the same page, we're on the same team. Again, I notice the parents who are warmer to me and do pop by and say hi, or just talk to me in any capacity on a regular, once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, even if it's just 2 words. Hey, see you later, whatever. The kids, I notice, have a way better connection with me. When I have a great connection with the parents, the kids seem to have an even better connection with me. They're more apt to go home and share with families, what's going on in the classroom. Just, I know, going through conferences, whether recently or in the past, my student comes home and says X, Y, and Z about you, or about the class, or about something they did, and so they're hearing about it. And again, I feel like when the kids know we're on the same team, there's more of a transfer between the classroom and the home. So parent-teacher conferences, when you are forced to host them from the teacher's side, I guess I thought, hey, I'll share how I do it. And then there's always a million different ways. There's student-led conferences. There's teacher-led conferences. You could go get a book, I'm sure, about all the ways to confer with parents. But how I've done it, again, a system I have found. One, how are you going to accommodate everybody? You don't know what everybody's needs or whatever are. You blast out and send home notes with days and times. And honestly, for the majority of the families, the time and day you send home during conference time works. They say yes. They show up. And then, sometimes the parents, that time doesn't work. Can you do it another time? Can you do a phone conference? Can you do... Yes, I can. That's my job. It was disheartening to hear of some other teacher that someone I work with, they have a child, and they were trying to get a conference with the teacher. And that teacher was... Now, on conference days and conference week in my district, where we have minimum days, we're out of school 3 hours later. We are done. So it's such a short day, and it was disheartening to hear that this one teacher's student, who their teacher was not accommodating, and that's just a bummer, man. That's not what you're not here to get the vacation. Come on, man. Be reasonable, be flexible, meet with these families. I know for me, I love to try to pack up the first few days, and I'll go late. I'll meet in the morning, whatever, and then you get your Friday. You can go pretty quick on Friday, and there you go. There's the payoff. You start your week a couple hours early. Your week off. So, yay for me. But yeah, be accommodating. Some families just need some other form of time, or whatever way of communication. So that's the first one. You get as much response as you can. When you don't get responses, you gotta try again. Send home notes again. Just talk to the kids. Hey, did you hear back from your mom or dad or grandma or grandpa, about this conference? And So I don't know. These kind of things are typical. Always, they're hard to lock down a time, but yeah, you do. And then the other piece is just being organized, and that's just for teaching in general. But when you make your conferences, what I do is you just have a file for everybody. They come in, they have to, you have to get them to sign in just so you document who all shows up, and they have to sign for the report card. So you have all the paperwork they need to sign. You obviously have the report card. You just kind of show the grades, but then it's how did you get there? I'd say before any of this starts, you want to start with the strength too with the kid, and something positive, something you like about them. Again, just think parents want to know you like their kid. Who wants to send your son or daughter to someone who doesn't like them? And who wants to learn with someone that doesn't like them? No one does and will. So, start with a positive. Start with something that is a strength, something you enjoy. It could be the smallest thing you could possibly think of to something that seems like a really great connection, But yeah, you want to start there. And then again, the grades are there. They're not changing. We're not doing anything different. I mean, that's what's there. And then how did you get there? So I do like to have a separate piece of paper with just all the data points that have been collected throughout the trimester, different assessments, whether in math or reading, different writing assignments to just show an understanding of conventions or an understanding of working through the writing process, an understanding of genre, it's just a way to show their understanding, the student's understanding in more than one point. You gotta have a multiple data points. So that's what I do. I lay out all the different assessments and, again, material and work we've done just kind of in one page. So as I work through, I can then kind of show the things that I have or have given them or done with the students to then justify how I got to the grades. You as a teacher, you as a site, again, you need to come up with whatever your assessments are. For me, I use book level. I use they do an assessment on the computers that show kind of like the end of the year test that gives an overview. It's kind of like that, but you give it in different trimesters. Spelling. This is just reading, but it's like a spelling assessment. Some, if they are struggling readers, maybe something with decoding to show where they are in their decoding skills. And I know one's escaping me. I'm like picturing my paper that I have, and so maybe it'll come to me. Writing, again, I just kind of lay out the pages we've done through the writing process so they can see like a content grade, a conventions grade, and then I do have other writing samples to show. Just so, again, we can understand the idea of genre. I say, hey, write a letter, write an opinion piece, write me a story, and just so we could see what they create more so on the fly than really working through the process. That's always kind of interesting to see. A lot of kids rush through the writing and don't want to take their time. So that's always interesting. And then math-wise, the assessments you give, maybe you give a placement test at the beginning of the year. After some of the year, maybe give that placement test again. That's what I usually do. I just want to see, what do you remember from the previous grade coming in? And then a lot of times the curriculum just has an assessment right there for the teacher to use. And then after some practice and working through the curriculum, and however, you as the teacher want to build in ways to spiral learning and bolster understanding of tough concepts, maybe you can give that assessment again and see improvement or maybe not improvement. At our school, again, there's a computer test they take that each trimester that lets you know kind of an overall basis, how they're doing. And then just kind of test throughout the year. Unit tests, we study percentage. Here's a test on percents. We study multiplying decimals. Here's a test on multiplying decimals, or whatever the concept is. So you could just kind of lay those out, and I generally just kind of send the tests home after we've gone over them and fixed our mistakes, and then you could take them home. You could save them and give them all to the parents at that conference. Whatever you want to do. But usually math, all I have is really a placement test to give the parents, just so they could have that and see. And then everything else is just kind of documented on the form. Homework, I like to jot that down for a piece of understanding. And so they can see. Hopefully that's not a big surprise. Like I said, they get a progress report earlier in the year. You're hopefully communicating and making it clear of whether homework's getting done or not. For me personally, it's important. The kids need to have that responsibility, especially when they're older. And some classrooms, maybe like in high school or later middle school, or who knows, 7th grade, I don't know, but 6th grade even in middle schools. But I'm at an elementary school that goes up to 6th grade. And, sometimes the homework is directly connected to the grade in some capacity. And I don't know, for me, it's not a punitive thing. I'm not out here to bust them for not doing homework, but it is important. It is a grade you give on the report card. And so I put that on the document also. And then the report card covers other areas. Maybe they go to a PE teacher or a music teacher, or some sort of other teacher on the campus that gives them a grade of some kind. So, you share that, and if there's an issue, maybe they need to talk to that teacher, and you usually can facilitate some sort of a communication in that sense. And then if they're learning English or an English learner, there's a place to communicate their progression in language development. So you can have a place to show, yes, they're making the progress, or no, they're not. So, and this is broad strokes, just kind of what I do. I also, as just an additional piece for the families to try to understand, because you come to a conference and you have no practice or understanding of what's going on with the school system or how assessments are done. And, I tell you, your child is a book level. There's letters, there's numbers, there's all colors, there's all sorts of ways to level kids in their reading. So I like to, out of the Fontes and Pinnell, I have the book at school. Out of the Fontes and Pinnell, trying to think exactly what book it is that I copied it from and got it from. Maybe I could bring that to you guys in a later podcast of just like cool resources maybe. But I photocopy what a particular level looks like. So if you are supposed to be at a level T, here's generally what a T looks like. Here's where your student needs to be so they can see that level, see any differences or not. Highlighting just a couple areas that are difficult for students. Maybe it's synthesizing ideas. Maybe it's collecting important ideas to summarize. The range of whatever, it could go on and on and on of like reading skills or writing skills that could be focused on. So generally just kind of like broad strokes, finding a couple areas, hey, if you want to work on your child and look at this area with them, that could be invaluable. Just as an idea, because parents sometimes they just want an idea, or they're not sure what to do, or they leave it all in the hands of the teacher when, hey, they can definitely do some things at home without a teacher credential. So I like to do that. I like to copy. Again, I think I get it out of the Fontes and Pinnell work. I'll maybe in the future do a podcast about resources and things that I use and stuff. But it's I like to copy about viewing themselves as a writer, And then just whatever genre of writing is coming up, just kind of highlighting, here's what it looks like, and here are some data points of what we're looking for or areas that are difficult. And so, again, highlighting those kind of things for the families. Some just put it in the pile and stack it up and go, and then others are really thankful and take that home and give it a try. Um, so overall, and then the parents like to, any questions? Do you have any other concerns to bring to me that I can help with? And so sometimes they have questions. Love answering questions. I love that they have questions. It just shows their openness. And then sometimes they don't have any, or sometimes there's a concern of some kind that the kid hasn't voiced. Someone made fun of them, someone's picking on them, someone outside of the class did something, and then now I know. So sometimes the kids don't always tell you everything, and that's always nice. So then and then you can support the kid. So overall, again, parent-teacher conferences, it's just such a archaic thing. It's just so in the past, and that's me. That's my opinion. Some families, that's maybe if you or a parent or a teacher, if that's your biggest takeaway of the year. Oh, I don't mean to take that away from you, but just it feels like this one meeting you're supposed to do with everybody at the beginning of the year, and then after this, I only am technically supposed to meet with parents who the child is not at grade level. So yeah, there you go. Now I'm not meeting with the kids who are at grade level, and I still am. Like I said, I'm in contact with families, and I don't just leave it to these little checkpoints along the way. I mean, the job of a teacher is, come on, put in the time to make these things clear. So there's no questions when you get to it, and so. Again, that's what I had with today's topic. If you are watching on the YouTube channel, guys, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. If you are going over to Podbean and checking out the Education Happenings podcast over on Podbean, man, I'd love to see some more listens happen over there, or hit the follow button over there. Overall, I'd love for you guys to check out the educationhappenings.com site. I'm blown away. I'm fascinated by the number of stories that pop up, and by stories that pop up in the news, I mean they're more legitimate. They are, verified by the teacher in question, either responding or in some way getting their voice out on their side. Maybe the district responds. Sometimes that's not enough, as you might see in my story that I'll get to share soon enough, I'm sure. And then, if you're on Twitter, hey man, at edu_happenings, boom, hit it over there, visit over there, or same on Instagram. You can go check it out over there. And guys, I appreciate anyone who does take the time to listen or come visit. And if you do, why not just follow and subscribe and not miss anything in the future? So I'll see you guys on the next episode, which will be episode 4. And we'll see what the topic is. If I don't hear from anyone on a topic, which is fine, I understand there's not a million people watching and commenting and stuff, I'll just bring another topic and we'll get to that. So, you guys, again, thank you, and I will see you hopefully real soon. All right, have a good day, guys.